Deputy Director General and Director positions will follow soon. The ministry assured that a physician will be hired soon, while an announcement has been issued to recruit 5 nurses immediately needed for the center. Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Saeed announces that the ministry will begin establishing libraries in Islamic centers in different parts of the country this year. The minister made the statement at a signing ceremony held to hand over the construction of an Islamic center in Milandu, Shaviani Atoll, to Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC. The contract was signed on behalf of the Islamic Ministry by Minister Shahim, while MTCC was represented by its Managing Director Ahmad Saudi. MTCC was awarded the contract under a design and build policy. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister Shahim said despite Islamic centers being established in islands, the centers have not been utilized to its fullest extent. Under efforts to maximize the benefits of the center, the current government has started offering courses from the Islamic University of Maldives at the Islamic centers established in Thinadhu, Gafdal Atoll and Ungufaru, Ra Atoll, he noted. The minister said that plans are also in place to begin work this year on establishing libraries in all Islamic centers currently established across the Maldives. He also highlighted the Islamic center projects that are currently underway, including centers in Addu City and Diddu, Ha Alif Atoll. He said the 2 centers are expected to reach completion within the year. Regarding the Milandu Islamic Center, the minister said the construction of the center is being carried out in response to the requests of the island's residents and in line with President Moizu's pledges. He expressed hope that the project would be completed at the earliest. Speaking at the signing ceremony, MTCC Managing Director Ahmad Saudi said the company will work to complete the work within the contractual deadline. The National Bank, Bank of Maldives, BML, introduces a new guest house financing scheme aimed at Ha Alif Atoll. The scheme was introduced a special ceremony held in Philadu, Ha Alif Atoll. Guest house financing is already a loan model offered by the bank. According to BML, the newly introduced financing option for Ha Alif Atoll is specifically designed for the atoll. BML's Chief Executive Officer Muhammad Sharif said those who wish to enter the guest house businesses and existing guest house businesses owners can apply for financing under the loan scheme. While there is no need for additional security, funds can be obtained instead by mortgaging the guest house itself. Sharif said the initiative is part of BML's broader efforts to support tourism and environmental projects. BML teams will visit islands in Ha Alif Atoll to provide information on the financial model to local residents. Several state-owned companies, along with some state institutions, are gearing up to hold a grand celebration on Eid al-Fitr in the capital Male. According to the organizers, the event will be held simultaneously in 3 major areas of Male. The Ministry of Defense, in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports, the Maldives National Defense Force (MNDF), Maldives Police Service (MPS), and several state-owned firms will hold the event from 4 to 6 p.m. on the day of Eid. MNDF said the event will be held in Sultan Park in front of the Victory Monument and in Republic Square with games and many cultural and traditional performances. Activities will include demonstrations of Maldives' culture and traditions along with the fusion of modern characters with traditional ones. There will also be opportunities, especially for children, to ride MNDF and police vehicles and take photos. There will also be a special weapons display, brass band performances, and a silent drill conducted by the MNDF. The Ministry of Sports will also have gaming stalls and a fusion show with a host of water sports activities planned at the Republic Square. The companies collaborating for the celebrations include Maldives Airports Company Limited (MACL), Waste Management Corporation (WAMCO), Male Water and Sewerage Company (MWSC), State Trading Organization (STO), Housing Development Corporation (HDC), Maldives Transport and Contracting Company (MTCC), State Electric Company Limited (STELCO), and Maldives Ports Limited (MPL). Authorities are also gearing up to light up the country as part of the grand celebrations of upcoming Eid al-Fitr. U.S. President Donald Trump is likely to exclude a set of sector-specific tariffs while applying reciprocal levies on April 2nd, the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg reported. But a Trump administration official on Monday, March 24th, cautioned that the situation was fluid and no final decisions had been made.
Trump himself will ultimately determine the contents of the April 2nd announcement, which he has touted as Liberation Day for the U.S. economy. The action aims to shrink a $1.2 trillion global goods trade deficit by raising U.S. tariffs to levels charged by other countries and counteracting their non-tariff trade barriers.
Already he's backed off in his statements about what might be done for the auto industry because of the high degree of integration with U.S., Mexico, Canada. So that's a big thing coming on April 2nd, how he treats those industries separate from all the industries where tariffs don't match and value-added taxes don't match up with what the U.S. does.
Trump said in February that he intended to impose auto tariffs in the neighborhood of 25% and similar duties on semiconductors and pharmaceutical imports, but he later agreed to delay some auto tariffs after a push by the three largest U.S. automakers for a waiver. The Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg earlier reported that the sector-specific tariffs are expected to be delayed, also citing an administration official. Trump's whirlwind tariff offensive since his January inauguration has been marked by threats, reversals, and delays, sometimes within hours of imposition deadlines, as his trade team formulates policy on the fly. Thus far, he has imposed new 20% duties on Chinese imports, fully restored 25% duties on global steel and aluminum imports, and slapped 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico that do not comply with a North American trade agreement over the U.S. fentanyl overdose crisis.
Top Trump administration officials mistakenly discloses war plans in a messaging group that included a journalist shortly before the United States attacked Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis.
Democratic lawmakers swiftly blasted the misstep, saying it was a breach of U.S. national security and a violation of law that must be investigated by Congress. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, said in a report that he was unexpectedly invited on March 13 to an encrypted chat group on the Signal messaging app called the Houthi PC Small Group. In the group, aimed to coordinate U.S. action against the Houthis. National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hughes said the chat group appeared to be Red Sea shipping, and he has warned Iran, the Houthis group, including information about targets, weaponry, reckless use of Signal chat. Accounts that appeared to represent Vice President J.D. Vance, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, CIA Director Ratcliffe, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and senior National Security Council officials were assembled in the chat group, Goldberg wrote. Joe Kent, Trump's nominee for National Counterterrorism Center Director, was apparently on the Signal chain despite not being yet Senate confirmed. Trump told reporters at the White House that he was unaware of the incident.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
A White House official said later that an investigation was underway and Trump had been briefed on it.
Over 1,000 residents were told to evacuate their homes in southwestern Japan as a wildfire continued to rage, while firefighters battled to tame the blaze, local media reported.
Japanese broadcaster NHK reported that the fire, which started on March 23rd in the city of Imabari in Ehime Prefecture, is estimated to have destroyed at least 214 hectares of land. NHK reported, citing weather officials, that dry weather was expected to continue in the city of Imabari. According to NHK, a separate wildfire that also started on March 23rd in Okayama Prefecture in southwestern Japan destroyed 250 hectares of land and damaged 6 buildings, but stopped spreading the following morning. Firefighters and Japan's Self-Defense Force helicopters were working to extinguish the fire in Okayama.
Three-times wingfoil racing World Cup champion Mathis Guillot of France wins the season opener in Dakhla, Morocco.
The women's competition was claimed by the 2024 series silver medalist Maddalena Spanu of Italy. Both gave dominant performances that will act as an ominous warning to their fellow competitors. Race to clinch the final, but the Frenchman came top in qualifying but was pushed hard by Poland's Emilia Costi and Italian Maddalena Spanu won every race in the final, showcased some great emerging talent, and instantly made the switch from kites to wing African debut. The desert sands meet the Atlantic, and the winds generated are consistent in Switzerland. No desert wind, but plenty of mountain breeze.
A historic Fokker D-7 fighter plane on show at a German museum may be looted property from Nazi-occupied Netherlands.
According to provenance researcher Bernard Werl, the Fokker, long thought to be a German World War I fighter, is actually a Dutch naval plane that was repainted and modified as a present for Hermann Göring, a principal architect of Germany's Nazi police state under the Third Reich. The Dutch markings were discovered beneath German paint during a 1980 restoration, with research indicating the aircraft was extensively modified during the Nazi era. The German museum has arranged to loan the aircraft to the Netherlands Military Museum in Soesterberg for 5 years while research continues. A key question remains whether the plane is the Dutch D-20 or D-28 model. Hempfer noted this distinction is crucial. The D-28 was intended for a Dutch aviation museum before the war, whereas the D-20 was actually aircraft scrap. Recent examinations revealed an engraving reading D-28, 13-9-1934, but researchers cannot say whether this refers to just one section of the plane that may have been added as part of ongoing repairs or whether it reflects the main bulk of the plane. Complete identification is complicated by the 1980 restoration.
Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant day ahead.
Barakatir Ramalan Mahoge Heo Idmat Hunia TV Ballawa Lobit Raitunan Ariskuran